Okay. Good evening, night, or morning, depending what time zone you are. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, I guess. So, basically, did I close the PowerPoint? I closed the PowerPoint. Give me a moment. Unless I put that in another screen so I don't. 1 second. There we go. Okay. Part 1. Nope, wrong button. Where? There. Apparently that's whatever. Okay. A guy's rant on how he did not follow advice from other people. Basically, story short, people say do that and that, say I'm gonna do my own thing. A disclaimer, if you are on this, is not to make fun of you or whatever. It's literally just to show example material. It's not to target, offend, or humiliate anyone. It's just to help people improve and whatnot. So the thing is, I'm not a live pilot. I just use one mech. This is kind of the origin story. During a 1v1 is a joke. I started fighting and got to use SRMs. Then went to the cheetah and over basically game settings. Now, how to... Can you guys see this properly or it's cutting? Okay, now. This is the game settings that I use. If you want to have higher FPS and still good visual, what I recommend is follow those settings, put brightness to 0.25 and gamma to 1. Some people have NVIDIA filters on. I use AMD, so I don't really care. You want to put everything to low, but texture into high so you see the details on mechs and other stuff. For game settings, basically this. Some people like to use the directional arrow. I personally don't like. Mouse sensitive to max, no smooth or acceleration. Then, if you guys ever wonder how I aim, this is basically my setup. My M2 for me is advanced zoom. Weapon groups 1, 2, and 3. UAV and cool shot. I have a DPS fixed at 2000. I have those settings as well. More because of like decal and whatever, and just to switch. I can actually show that in game as well when going to the testing grounds. That it doesn't matter which one you use for fine aiming because the mechs have a fixed angling when you look up, down, left, and right. Like the same input will give the same results. So for the cheetah, about light mech movement and jump jets. What I usually do, some people do the jump jet spamming thing for breaking the mech animation. It helps on some mechs, like if you ever try to shoot a Highlander or a Phoenix Hawk, the thing literally just bends over itself when you hit the jump jet in the right moments. It's kind of annoying to hit the mech, so aim for the center mass, maybe a little over the hip area. And that's another thing about the headshot part. About hitting the headshot, when they do that, there's like visually the pilot does not see the mech bending whenever they do, but everybody shoot at them, gonna see the mech literally just jerking the head back and forward. Well, you basically want to keep moving and time them with shots. Quick leg boost for relationship. It's been a while since I played the cheetah, so I'm kinda rusty. I can show some movements later, but this is basically some tips for moving. Aiming. In Mech War Online, unlike like if you play a game like War Thunder and Star Citizen, if you shoot someone, the shot will not carry your mech momentum and whatever, they just go where they are. For hitting targets, the more velocity, the better. And if you want to land a target, especially for fast movers, literally just aim for where you think the target is going to be. Leading shots is important. And there are some cues you can have for the movement. You don't have to shoot as fast, but you can shoot at the right moment to more or less see where you can land the shot. Precision weapons are better if you want to go fine aim, but a lot of stuff now is getting splashed for some reason, and there's a lot of LBX meta plus SRMs. Those have a shit ton of spread, but if you have pinpoint, they basically mitigate that. This is that the lazy hate one? 1 second. Okay. Okay, this one is gonna be for mouse movement. This is basically whenever if you're having a hard time aiming at a target, what you can do is like relax. You basically try to aim where the target will be. It's basically leading. This whole video is nice for aiming. There's another one how to play scout as well. This one I'm not gonna play now. I recommend you guys watch entirely from Lazy Purple. It's a TF21, but there's a lot of tips during the whole thing about how to play light mechs. This one actually helps a lot for movements. Does not apply to like specific game mechanics, but if you want to know positioning and how to engage and disengage. But the one that's worth playing is this one because of the mouse technique. I'm gonna put it on the full screen and let it play for now. Okay, so this is basically what I usually do for aiming. Like if some people that for laser vomit, especially the people that need to click and keep tracking the thing. If you have a weapon system that fires once or it has a very low fire rate, you can basically sling, let's say, shots. You basically move your cursor fast and try to release or click at the moment you think the target will shot. This takes some practice because not all weapons have the same velocity. For the same reason, I have this. For example, when I practice, especially for making my shots land, if you notice, my heavy Gauss projectile speed is 2070. And if you go to the railgun, that's heavies, and you go to the weapon itself, I also set it up for 2060. They're basically the same. So you get used to the projectile velocity. Some people kind of will say, oh, the bad, I'm going to say for that later actually. I get used to the same velocity. So all the mechs I have, including even the mediums, I think this one, yeah. It has the heavy PPC plus the quirks. It's close to 2000, but it's not counting the extra 5% from the TC. That's going to actually have to check this one after the next patch because they're reworking this thing, I think. So basically, even the heavy PPCs and all the weapons I have for pinpoint, this had the same velocities. Thanatos as well. Blight, I think, has some quirks, but whatever. The only one I have some problems with is this one. Because it doesn't have the quirks. It's slow, so it's kinda sluggish. But the thing is, velocity doesn't really matter if you are used to the weapon. You need to, I'm gonna quote Lazy Purple again, how to feel, to how it feels to fire the weapons. Because after you're used to their velocity, you can practically guess how the shot will land. But if you have for me, having all the weapons as close as possible helping my muscle memory. But at long range, and especially hitting fast movers, if you just want to go and say, fuck it, I want to put the biggest TC and go full velocity and have like 3000 meters per second, the higher velocity the weapon has and the closer the distance, it makes aiming at targets and leading shots less of a gamble. Because the longer the distance, you need to literally guess, based, like you see the mech going direction, you see the movement, whatever, but you're basically gambling that, okay, I think this person will be over here, so you take the shot and you hope it lands. Having higher velocity, it still makes a gamble, but it makes a way less of a gamble. So for Poptarting, at least one jump jet for quick turning. That is kind of nice if you're not Poptarting. But for Poptarting, especially if you have to present and show for fast, having more jump jets mean you get there faster and also don't waste as much time taking off. Because there's a difference between just going up. If you guys see my mouse cursor, it's basically going up on this velocity and giving people time to see the mech antenna and whatever, then preaim at you, or just going here and going back as fast as possible. I always keep the exposure to minimal. That brings me to the God tier and good tier whatever weapons. Some mechs have better mounts. The Fafnir is a barn, but it works because it's relatively high, but it's not as low as an Atlas. Like, this thing is awful, but the railgun, decent, but this is also bad because you need to expose everything above the cockpit. Now for the actual Pop-Tartars, the Thanatos actually has good mounts, but it's not that great because it's still boxy. That is the same for the Shadowhawk. Even it doesn't have the torso exposing, but you still have this. Also, the technically 3 normal peeps, it's more cold, they have more DPS than 2 heavy peeps, but you're gonna have another PP silver here. So that means you're literally gonna have to expose even more to have the same amount of firepower showing the enemy. The Cheetah, it's sorry, the Cheetah, it's actually decent for a light mech because the mobility, but if it was a slow mover, it's just awful. And it's tiny, so it's kinda easy to hit, or harder to hit. And some mechs, let me go to the store. The Hunchback 2C for now, if you're looking for a mech that has god tier mounts, it is this thing. It has god tier convergence, if you use just these two of course, but if you use those more, not much, and you expose very little. I think your effective cockpit view is over here, so you don't even expose all of this, like you're just exposing the weapons. You still have this hunch over here, but it's not as much. You don't have the crappy antenna that some mechs have. Like if you go to the Thanatos or the Shadowhawk, you can see the antenna. This thing is so good for harassing people. It literally got 2 or 3 times nerf and lose the quirks. Like if you go to the mech lab, this thing lost quirks like crazy. It has nothing. It's just a little bit of structure. This thing used to have more armor. I think it has its 1 point energy hit, I don't recall, but this thing was broken for Poptarting. It was the best Pop-Tart mech in the game. Right now people use the Virago and whatever, but that's more like a comp skirmisher. This thing is still good, but you have this crappy antenna. You have the Shadowhawk as well, is not as big, but you still can see stuff like, and the shoulder pads. This thing actually got a good rework. Like this is another example of very good tier, good tier mounts, but only for SRM skirmishing. So this is basically a heavy version of an Arctic Cheetah. And let me just go to the testing grounds. And Canyon, Terminite, I think it was. Yeah, Canyon. I'm gonna show an example of mounts versus returning fire and put it on third person as well. If the game loads, that is. Okay.
Override engaged. Target acquired.
Let me go to the rock.
25%.
This thing has 3 jump shots, is not as mobile, but if you want to go for Poptarting, you look for a position more or less like this, and you expose as minimal as possible. Let me see if there you are.
New target acquired.
You literally just do like this and try to keep exposure to as minimal as possible. I kind of overdid, but stuff like this you can do I failed it, but if you have a better base than just this slope, you can do like a sideways. I overshot, but still the same.
Destroyed. Next target.
And for the exposure thing, let me get it over here. Like if you're gonna shot someone over there, this still fires at you, and you go over here and just look back. Actually, not rendering. There you go. You can see that it's a very narrow like margin. You don't show as much, but if you have a hunchback, you don't see as many. Like you can see the stupid antenna if I'm moving or whatnot. So if I do, let me go F5. I'm gonna try to do this. Now this. Look back. Can I do this or? Yeah. I cannot. Let me try again. Yeah, it's moving forward, so I cannot. Actually, gonna try on this rock here to give a better example. If that does not go as planned, it's basically exposed as low as possible, and still try to shoot the target. Let me see over here. I think it's gonna show partially exposed, but the goal is to show the mech as a torso over here. You see that? You basically see it for a fraction of a moment, it just shoots and go back to cover. I think that was basically what I want to show about that. Let me get the cheetah and show the movement as well. Can be you. I think my game is having issue because streaming on Discord plus Twitch. My CPUs probably want to kill me. Okay.
Override
Okay.
engaged.
So basic dodging with the cheetah that I use. I try to time the enemy and move around. What I like to do is press like a random side and just do the jump jet thing left and right. It's not the JJ spamming. Some people like to stand still and do this. I find it just annoying. The only time I think you do this, basically randomly click front and back, left and right, and spamming the jump jet whenever it's convenient. It's annoying as hell. Some people think it's a good maneuver. The only time I would say do that is like, okay, I just got from a jump and landed, and there's like a assault mech in front of me. Then you try to do something, but until you get your speed. But if you keep doing that, you're gonna notice that you keep bleeding velocity and speed. So if you need to beachhead someone, just do this left and right click, and especially try to time the shots, because every time you do a jump you're losing a bit of speed, especially if you get out of the ground.
Acquired.
Torso twisting also, because of that it helps depending how they go, because if they're just forgetting to aim your legs, you just go for CT. So twist and turn and keep doing this kind of movements. It is literally practice. Keep moving, do not stand still unless you have a target that's unaware. For example, there's someone over there engaging someone over here. Just play like this, hit, switch, hit, switch. If you're getting focused, disengage. Not worth it because you don't have armor unless you're trying to help a teammate. And basically keep the movement. Something I kinda do sometimes, especially there's a clip I'm gonna show later. When I jump away, I like to rotate the mech entirely. I don't know why, but if you do that in a specific way, it works with comp players as well. They kinda have a difficult time targeting you. I don't know why, but it's kinda like this. Let me go back to PowerPoint. Okay, there is an example games as well. Light duels versus, that's 8 minutes, light versus assault. I think this one is Bowser. No, that's GRAM. Okay, so let me get to the point. Put it up on quality so you guys don't have it pixelated. Okay, this is an example of how to fight the mech against a comp player. Sorry? Okay. Basically the thing is, if my thought process during the video, GRAM has basically, that was during the Solaris event kill thing. What happened was, he has pinpoint. I have SRM splash. I need to close the distance because he has this thing and the Warhog with AP Gauss is the two mechs that can absolutely counter my build. My goal is to close the distance as fast as possible and try to melt his CT. I was doing a terrible job in going for the side torso. So the whole game is basically me trying to get into some type of cover and hit him as much as possible without taking as much return fire. In normal terms, like, oh shit, I don't want to be shot, come on, don't hit me kind of stuff. It's basically, hide, wait for the cooldown, keep track of the target. I think he shut down my UAV. Yeah. And shoot and twist. Keep engaging. Like, I fail again. I'm going for CT, but I keep hitting the torsos for whatever goddamn reason. Same thing again. I managed to get a good hit there. The thing is, SRM spread, it's also gambling in a way, because when the moment I fire this, I aim at the position shot, but you can see the spread kinda help me there. Like, you see they're more concentrating than normal. You see they usually going out. If they also decide, like, you know what, I'm also going over here, I will not have destroyed his CT. Using SRMs against lights is a pain, but whenever you got a good spread like this, you can make some good shots. That's another reason why the scale shot was that broken. You can literally snipe away component at 400 meters with that thing, because the spread works. I think now he got the torso. Yeah, this is what I show. Whenever jumping away and doing this rotation, for whatever reason, you see that it kind of helped. Not sure why or how, but that helps. But also leaves me open to a back shot if they time it right. It's basically don't get hit and just try to spread damage around. If you're fucked out everywhere, it doesn't matter where it hits. You have weapons in the arms, you have ammo, torso. If you lose any components, it's a bad thing. And now basically, okay, I have more or less the upper hand. I'm gonna try to use those and start Poptarting. But at that distance, he also can land shots very easily because his weapon velocity is much faster. Also, another thing, if you still have jump jets and the target's not there, when you jump, you can keep yourself in there for a little bit longer like this. But this time I kind of call it in a bad mood, that bad time, and landed before. I should have stayed a little bit more and get a shot on him as well. Now it's gonna be like the closing. We should 1v1 at some point then. But I absolutely despise. I don't like 1v1ing, but I don't mind training because that helps sharpening. This match was actually very close. G-Ran actually beat me twice on the other accounts. I was doing it on the other accounts, but this one is the one that got the 172 wins to 1 loss ratio in the Solaris stuff. This one was the only one that actually managed to beat G-Ran. So there is also another one. This one is which one is this? Oh, that's the one with the master duels. This one is from above. It's basically pursuing. I don't think it's worth it now to watch, but I want to show the one against assault mechs because of the arms. This one's a long video. I'm not gonna play it. It's basically the Thanatos Poptarting. This PowerPoint is gonna be released as well with the recording later. So I just want to show this one specially. This one was during a scrim. I want you guys to pay attention the moment target spotted. Let me see. No, turn around. I think now is when the starts fight. Okay, so was not expecting him to be there, but he was. Shouldn't forget. Now you have the cheetah also has arm mounts, but another thing that mechs like the Mistlinks and the cheetah can do, not with all the weapons. If you unlock the arms, even if the target is not in position, the cheetah doesn't do as well, but the Lynx is very funny that you can kind of jump over the target. I think right now, yeah, I think it's going to be another one. You just, no, I think it was just that moment. You just jump over the targets, like the early, I think it was the early one. Here, yeah. Here, you just fly over the target. You have no idea how this is funny to confuse and make some assault mechs lose track of you, because you're basically in front of him and then behind him, especially there's something else to hide behind. And keep doing that. Also, if you cannot look, just unlock the arms and just keep shooting like this. That was a screen against EQ, I think. Yeah, Prime Master. I think G-Ram is there as well, and assaults. Okay, back to the PPT. Now the headshot parts. Okay, basically the headshot thing was out of spite after basically banter over headshot being a way to play faction, yada yada, but then, yeah, this thing has a link for the mech head locations. You can use this guide. Most of the headshots are actually accurate, but for mechs like the Executioner, for example, if it's loading, of course. There. For the Exi, I did some testings. It says the head hitbox is here, but it's actually over here. It is literally under the square, so as much as this one helps, there's some mistakes on this thing. Just don't use it as gospel, just go for it and aim. This one is literally under the square. So back, aim for the chin. A lot of mechs, especially the, also another example, I think I'm gonna go to the MWO for this one. Some mechs are, especially the one that the Crusader and the Supernova. CCC Crusader. If you look at the head location, camo spec, the head hitbox is over here. Like, it's not the entire glass, it's a small portion over here. When the Crusader powers down, it angles. If you have a mech that has the weapon mount like the Atlas lower than the Crusader position, you're not headshotting him because your head is looking like this, but your weapons are doing this. So if you're too close and this thing is powered down and you shoot him in the head, aim for the head with the Atlas, even though your visual does this, the shot's gonna do this, and it's gonna be a CT hit. So some mechs are inherently more hard to headshot than others. Like the Supernova. That's a Crusader still, I failed to click. Like the Supernova head hitbox, I think it's somewhere around here. Because every time I land a shot over here, it's never a hit, it's always a shot from above. And I say that because once I managed to headshot one of those, he survived, and then Artillery Strike got the headshot. So that's kind of funny. But this thing is basically almost impossible to headshot unless it's looking down or power down, or you have the high ground. So some mechs are more forgiving for head hitbox than the others. Actually, might as well. No one hidden. Okay. Okay, convergence now. Weapons. You may want to use weapons that do pinpoint. You can do AC2 spam or something like this. Not a problem, but you're gonna have you need to multiple tap. What I do is try to one tap. Also, when people do like AC20s snubs, those are doable because the distance is very short, so the velocity disparity is not bad. The problem is when you try to hit something that is fast. An example for here, like comparison back to the other mechs. The Blight has one of the best heavy gauss positioning because it's very close to the cockpit and is very high. If you try to shoot at someone, the shot in front of him is going to go down by little because it's not that high, and the convergence is not going to be that far. It's very good for landing shots, and you don't have many issues. Now, the Thanatos has better horizontal convergence, vertical convergence, because it doesn't go down. It goes basically the same height as the cockpit. So when it shoots down, it's not doing. Is doing more like keeping the horizontal and not going down, or like the Marauder does. Because whenever the mech does the rangefinder thing, I think there's a slide that shows that. No, not this one. Yeah, there's a slide over here. The Fafnir and the thing, when it shoots, the weapons will, if you're trying to lead a shot at this target and it's moving fast, you're gonna aim behind it. Your weapons, when you fire, they're gonna try to converge over here. So you're not gonna land all the shots in the same location, they're gonna have a spread. That same thing applies on horizontal. You're gonna be shooting from top to down. It is good for shooting people in trenches, but if you have a mech like the Direwolf, for example, the Direwolf is very easy to bully, but only on close range. At long range, having low mounts like this is not a problem, because the longer the distance, the less convergence issue you get. But if you're trying to shoot someone at your face, like over here, you're aiming over here because your visual is here, your shot's gonna do this. And whenever you try to hit, let me get pint now, MS pint. Whenever you have someone on a hill, over, not like this, doesn't need to be that big, but if you have a mech over here, no, it's square, and this thing is also, consider this thing in green as a mech hiding behind the cover, and if you have a in green, I keep need to do this, and you get a box, consider this a dire well with the dire arms over here. Whenever yeah, that's the most precise representation of the dire whale. The enemy head is here, and they're trying to shoot up. If you try to fire, it's gonna do this. Like right now, it's hitting, but if you're close enough, this thing's gonna go up, and you're gonna miss the shot. It's gonna be impossible for you to shoot this target. Like over here is fine, but if you're closer and you want to do another shot from, let's say, here, you're never hitting this guy over here because you're gonna hit the terrain. If you try to fire from this direction over here, you actually have more like a, it's way less chance to hit. So close range, low mounts, you're gonna get bullied by a Poptart. At long range, you can still fight back, but you need high velocity weapons to counter the distance and compensate for this travel time. That's why having high mounts is kind of good. Like for now, the Blights, I'm gonna do a blue Blight, whatever. No, this is not a Blight. For the Blights with the weapons over here, let's say here, and the cannons are here, and the cockpit is over here because why not? Whenever it fires, you're looking at this direction, so your weapon will do this. You're gonna have the opposite problem for the target, but it's gonna be awesome if you have the high ground, but it's gonna be awful if you have the lower ground, because your shots, if you fire over here, you're gonna have a higher chance of flying over the target head because your cockpit is lower. So let me extend this. Because the cover is over here, need to put the box. The cover is over here. If you're looking up, there's a higher chance. I keep clicking the wrong stuff. If you try to fire from a higher distance, there's a higher chance the shot's gonna literally just fly over it. But if you're on a low ground, you're also gonna have less pain for this, but it's still gonna be a problem. Let me get the targets. I don't think I'm doing it properly actually. Cover. I'm gonna actually move this. And yeah. Because whenever you're trying to shoot up, and let me delete those two here actually. So whenever you're trying to shoot up because you're looking at that direction, your shot's gonna do this. You have the opposite thing. Instead of you're hitting the target, your shot's gonna go over the target because of how you're looking at it. There's like the best ones is kind of like the Thanatos, where the shots is on the same level as the head. Oh, thank you, PJ. I know you guys saw my email. Back to this because the game server connection was like, can you guys hear me? Or that was just the game giving me a middle finger. Yeah, PJ. Literally everything works. It's just PGI. Don't forget to reset the DNS because PGI would not invest in Berber servers, I guess. Barrels close together, cockpit spread, basic like this. Aiming tip to the neck. Okay. Another way to aim to minimize convergence issue, because I'm disconnected and I want to show my email again or type my password. Whenever this thing is moving, mechs like the Fafnir. Let me get the thing as well. Or actually, let me get the Annihilator. That's going to be a better example. Annihilate. I think I did it not load. Is this? Yeah. The Annihilator has a belly. So whenever you're aiming at it, the rangefinder, if you put here, is going to be one distance, and here's going to be another. So a way to mitigate convergence issues, not for the rangefinder, is whenever you're aiming at the target, you want to look like this, following the mouse cursor. Because if you're trying to shoot from this direction to here, it's going to be aiming behind it. So the shot is going to be doing this from the slide and spreading around. If you aim at the mech, like going from the top, the bottom to the top, you're going to have this convergence over here on the mech whenever you release the trigger, because the rangefinder is going to follow this. And when you release the trigger, even if it's not a headshot or it's going to aim, it's going to hit this center area over here. So whenever you're aiming, try doing this movement to aim to the head. Of course, that applies to the mechs with the cockpits on the top. The belly ones, like the Jaeger mech, just go for center mass and screw it. But if you have a high mount mech, like this, or like a Charger, Corsair, just moving like this, the mouse is good. You guys can see the mouse, right? The cursor. Okay, then Highlander, Mauler, like all those mechs with relatively high cockpit locations that if you just try to do this is going to be annoying. Especially mechs like the Stalker that has like the distance. Here, if you put the rangefinder here is one convergence, if you put here is another. Always go for crotch up and go to the head. Let me find that. Actually gonna go for the Jaeger mech, because that's the lower hanging fruit. Literally the worst chassis in the game. For harpoon location and whatnot. That thing is so sad. In lore is amazing. In this game it's sad. Look at the thing is the mech is flat. Is lore accurate because the armor sucks. But here's the problem. Belly button cockpit. Everybody sees you poking the trench or the corner before you see them. For this mech, it doesn't go fast. If you aim for the lead shot for the cockpit, it's a hard guarantee you're gonna land. Like this thing doesn't need it. It's just for the mechs like Orion as well. Quick draw. This one is also a pain in the ass to land a headshot. Also, it's slightly lower because it's a little bit angled. So yeah, just go from the crotch to the head, and you should have better chance to hit. Stationary targets, move away from you. Since your rangefinder will track the distance. Yeah. Oh, also the Fafnir. The Fafnir is one of those mechs, also the Nightstar, that has inherently harder to hit. Because look at this. If you try to lead a shot on a Fafnir moving, and you aim for the torso, if you put the crosshair here, it's going to rangefinder for the torso and not the head. So there's a high chance you're going to miss one of the shots. And some mechs, like the Nightstar, that thing is annoying. I think it's this one because Mauler, yeah, Nightstar. This thing has the Marauder profile, so if you try to lead any shots, you're literally gonna hit convergence, and this thing bobbles like crazy. What pisses me off about the way the game is done is that the mech warrior, the cockpit is stabilized, but if you look in game, this thing is going up and down so fast. I think there's a genuine desync of where the actual head location is versus the visual one that see, because as much as you see the mech moving normally and bobbling in this link to stabilize it, the actual hitbox is doing this. So you keep trying to land a headshot, but because if the pilot was inside this, the mech is going to be annoying. Some mechs, especially the Highlander, when it does the bending over, the head hitbox moves to the side, but the pilot stays the same location. It's like it's not bending over. The same for the Phoenix Hawk. And targets, trying to shoot the pendulum mech animation can help. Some mechs like that. If you ever go to play against a compy or see a back of the map farmer with AC2s, they just keep going back and forward to bobble the head and screw up the head hitbox. When that happens, you can do the aiming up, down, and up thing, and also try to time the shot from wherever the rocky animation. Some mechs have the specific animations. If you time it right for the animation, you can basically get in at the sweet spot to land the headshot. Travel speed is lower. Yep. Your weapon velocity. This thing again about weapon velocity, you need to get used to the weapons. Most of my shots I don't even think is just reaction. Whenever you get used to a weapon system, you're basically not thinking, you're just doing it. Tips for just going for the headshot. You will miss a lot of shots. Like for every headshot fucking clip I post, there's at least minimal 10 of me missing. So now some cheap things like flamers, seismic, basically for heavy gauss mech if you want to camp a corner so you can pre-aim. Oh, there's seismic coming up. You can just pre-charge, so whenever they turn the corner, you don't have to charge, just release the trigger. Flamers is more for self-defense, but it can help to shut down for farming. Also, slingshots. If the lazy purple thing, you just aim where they're gonna be, so you release the trigger. You're not waiting. You're not putting strain in your hands. If you want to land targets, you can do it on 60 hertz, no problem. But I got 2 years ago 144 hertz the monitor. Actually, having a higher refresh rate helps, not because you see more. Light mechs, they stop being a blur and you see more details. But for close range, it doesn't matter. It's more for long range landing shots. And that's what I said before. Over again, most of the stunts. Yeah, a little bit more final thoughts. Feel free to read it later, but basically, I would say do what you actually like. There's quote unquote metas, but I would recommend if you like a mech, if you like a weapon, do your own thing. Do what you like if you like, because what works for some people don't work for you. Is like not everybody has the same preference and whatnot. And I think I'm gonna end the talk like just go for whatever you feel like. And this sniper heavy, basically this on how you need to improve and get better. Basically, whatever you choose to do, always try to improve. You don't have to follow the cookie cutter. Always have the mechs you like, how you want to do. If you set an objective, try and error. Take a little bit of time to get there, and eventually gonna have a mech that you like more or less. I use Lazy Purple an example. This YouTuber, even his TF2, especially the Scout for light mechs, the Sniper for landing shots, the Heavy one as well, but other classes as well, they kind of focus much on Team Fortress 2, but they do have some good tips for playing. For example, the Heavy is good for assault mechs. I think the Soldier one is good for skirmishers on like the mediums and stuff like this. But yeah, I think that's might be the end of the TED Talk. Questions, anyone? Or Oh sure. I'm gonna open here. I'm gonna put it over here on the screen. I will actually take a screenshot now and send that to you, Savage, so you can get that as well. But I gave that to the PPT, the PowerPoint with this thing as well. Should be when the video release as well. So, and I think I'm gonna post on general chat so people can get it directly as well. Oh, the headshot mod. Let me just grab it quickly. I don't think it's Nexus mod. Let me just 1 second. I can headshot mod. Yeah. Yeah, we can hear it now. The thing is, when you say that, Gun Raptor, the annoying part is PGI is very inconsistent about the mod stuff, even for the headshot mod. The headshot mod is literally a sound pack that instead of literally say you get a head, any head component that's destroyed, just play a sound. It doesn't give you a competitive advantage. It literally just say, oh, head component destroyed. It's not like, God forbid, if you try to change the crosshair for something that's not a fucking open bubble, so you can try to have precise shots. But I'm gonna download this. Yeah, I think I already had that one as well. But it's literally this. I'm gonna get the pint again. It is this thing. Headshot final pack. You just copy paste here. I'm gonna put on Mech Academy general chat. So I need one. Nope. Okay. Oh, it's actually just the mod. It's not. It's just the file. I'm not gonna post the link for. Okay. Okay. Who wants it? It was nuke message. Hi there. I think yeah. Accepted. Let's say hi there. It is with this one. Plus, let me get you the upload file. Downloads. It is this one. It literally just release over here, open and close the game. And it should be working like every single time, even if actually people eject. Nice. Nice. Okay. Other than the headshot mod, anyone else? The video. What do you mean by the video? Oh yeah, it's being recorded. It's on Twitch as well. I just saw it. It's gonna be there. I'm gonna probably put that on YouTube as well, so you can watch it later. The thing is, in-game settings, this is fixed. Also, I kind of forgot to show. Since I already showed my email, I don't think PGI. I don't think you're gonna see my password. So let me just log in back again. And I'm gonna show some difference. 1 second. Pacific Fire M. First kiss with spice SRMs, then dance, then kiss again, and finally some swooms. Oh, that is. Okay. I have 4 different passwords for 4 different accounts because guillotine. So I kinda typed the wrong one. The thing is, PGI could just, if they had the website, like the same way they have the weapon stats, but for headshots, I would not have created the other accounts. But, yeah. I'm probably stopping after this one because I already have a lance worth of accounts and it's turning to a shore and I want to use my main account. Does need to load. Oh, by the way, the more mechs you have in the inventory, the more it takes to load. No. Okay, so I am at 2000 DPI and I'm gonna do like advanced zoom. I'm gonna do a slightly push above. You see that, actually let me go for the, actually it's better to show if I have a target to try to headshot, because you guys can see other than just looking at the horizon. Oh, another thing I like to do is whenever you're trying to aim for a target, because of that, if you're doing like a sideways movement, sometimes you put in the height you want, and then you just use the mech movement with the legs to get the results you want. So
Target
let me get this
acquired.
one as a target. I am at 2000 DPI and I'm gonna try to aim for the head. You see that it keeps going back to the more or less the same. I'm trying to put in a specific, like the middle, but it's kind of hard. I'm gonna go to 500. Right, I do a little touch. You see the mech go more or less the same position. That's basically a fixed angle. Like every mech has the angle, velocity, and stuff. The same. If you have 2000 DPI or 500, it doesn't matter. It will always go back to the same height. Like you go, I'm going horizontal, but you can see that one piece of input just go back to the same location. So if you try to shoot in between those two positions, you're gonna see it's impossible to aim. So that's why moving back and forward for the find enemy. So whenever I'm trying to, like this guy, I want to put to the right. This time it goes, but depending the distance, it literally just jumps from one side to the other, and I don't get a position in the middle. So that's why moving with the leg also helps, like up and down kind of stuff. You see that there's a dead space in the middle. That happens to all the mechs, and some mechs have a more sensitivity to that. So that's another thing to keep in check. If you see some clips and stuff of people trying to do find aiming, sometimes you literally just have to time your shots in between the movement of the position, because find aiming in MWO, especially at range, it's almost impossible. Let me get this. The it's supposed to be an awesome over there. Choose an example. There.
Target acquired.
No, it's a Corsair now?
Acquired.
Or is the awesome over there? I think they changed. It wasn't awesome before, I think. Weird. Okay. Yep. Oh yeah, that has the 4 AMS thing. Okay, but my point is, you see how it's just jumping from one side of the cockpit glass to the other? And now if I go up and down, it literally just, I can do a square over here. Just by doing the input thing. Just one piece of input every time, and the mech will do the same movement. So if you're trying to aim for the cockpit, you can use the legs as a way to compensate for that. no, on the horizontal, that is. On the vertical, you kind of screw it either way. Okay. I think it depends on the mech stats. Let me pull up the specifications. I think they have horizontal velocity angles, but I don't remember if they have. Yeah, some mechs are more sluggish than the others. Just let me pull the. If you go to the mech stats and go scroll down a bit, here you have the torso pitch. You have degrees per second. You can see that torso yaw and arms, you see one is more smooth than the other. 48 for up and down, and horizontal is, it's much harder for looking up. It's slower to look up and down. I'm putting over here, so it's basically looking up and down basically is lower than looking left and right. That's the point. Horizontal, yes. Actually, I'm not sure, but I think it was the same distance. If you look at me doing a square over there, I think it's just the velocity, because there's an input of how much it goes, and apparently the arms doesn't matter. It's the same for both. Acceleration, turn rate, degrees. Yeah, this one is just the fixed one. But yeah, it's this one. If you go like to a light mech. Absolutely, you can do torso and stuff, boobs and whatever. Like if you go to the cheetah, it's not 48. It's like over. It's basically 3 times the velocity for both sides. And if you go back to, let's get a Fafnir because why not? And you go to the skill tree, you can kind of do that on the torso speed and yeah, torso pitch. Basically. The maximum, actually no, this is how much more. This one is the velocity. If you put this one, it is this one. Yep. Okay, anything else? Usually having more heavy controls make it more accurate. For light mechs, like for snapshotting, it's better for have high mobility on the torsos. But for long range, people play on low DPI for long range snipe, especially for laser vomit, because at close range, the target is gonna be much faster for you than long range. Long range, you have much more time, let's say, and to respond. Like lasers, it's much more easier to do a laser burn at long range than it is to do close range, unless the target is on your face. But it's just the higher the speed of the target, the distance makes it easier for a hit scan, but it makes it worse for ballistics. That's why large lasers are that broken at long range for light mechs. They just do a lot of damage with hit scan, and because the distance, you don't have to do as much correction as if you're moving closer to land the laser burn. I know I'm having ballistics, but I kind of have this thing over here that I like for a long time. This thing actually slaps. And at close range is nice because also because of how the game it is, there's a lot of shenanigans about laser not doing the full damage and whatnot. But my experience is the longer the target is to me, the easier it is to keep the laser burn, because in terms of like how much you need to move your mech, is like the arc. Let me pull the PowerPoint again. Yeah, that's the right one. The angular velocity, correct. You need to do way less correction because let me clean this actually. So it's the same thing as before. If the target needs to do this, that's the path of the target at this range, and this is from a closer range, and that's a mech. We're gonna think that's a mech. If they're following this you're gonna have to do an arc. If you need to do a laser burn from this point, actually, wrong one here. If you have to do a laser burn from this position to this position, that's an angle. But if you need to do a laser burn from this position to this position, you can see that's a much lower angle, smaller angle. So this one makes it much easier. Like you need to do way less inputs compared to this one to just hit the same distance from a target at range. Anything else? Okay. What is it? Got it. All right. If nobody has any other questions, I think I'm gonna end this TED Talk. I was not expecting that to last for an hour. I did not think I had that much material. Oh wow. All right. Lol. Nice. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna be stopping the stream on Twitch then. When Twitch finally processes and put it there, I'm gonna download it to my PC and upload to YouTube with the link for the PowerPoint as well for people that want, and probably the headshot mod as well. I messaged about the headshot mod. I messaged PGI about it. They could not give me a position on it, but they don't. But they're not probably gonna ban you for having a headshot mod. So use it. Is not. Sure. I will look it up on my email. I need to check my box, and I'm gonna give you the email as well when I find it. All right. I am stopping the stream now.